Hey, welcome back. I got another mail day. I pre-cut it so I wouldn't have to struggle. Here's just some more Greg Morris cards to upgrade or complete some of my sets that I'm working on, or just because they were interesting or weird. That's it. All right, what do we got? Here's a little history lesson for football fans out there. This is Willie Heston. He was regarded as one of the great football players in his era, and maybe of all time, if you just look at how outsized his skill level was. The first the first tailback ever employed in football. Smart guy, and he did briefly play pro football, but back in these days, college football was where it was at. Pro football was scrounging around. Lots of weird teams in cities you've never would imagine would have had football teams. Here's a little synopsis of some of his stats and how ridiculous Michigan was early on. He was a coach after he played, and feel free to look him up. Super interesting. If you're really into football, you should start learning all these old guys. I mean, this All-American set was made with All-Americans, so all these guys are great. Here's another great player. Here's Benny Oosterbaan. I heard his name when I first got to Ann Arbor in junior high school. His one of the practice fields was built and named after him, and people still talked about him. He's considered one of the best athletes from the state of Michigan of all time. I think ranked behind Magic Johnson and Gehringer and I forget who else. But yeah, take a look at his stats. This guy was crazy good, and he was an All-American basketball player as well, and baseball and discus player. A lot of people thought he could have been in the 1928 Olympics if he'd wanted to, but he was Dutch Reform was his church, and they didn't play on Sundays, so he never really went to pro football. He just became a football coach for Michigan and then a basketball coach as well. And then there's this guy. I just love the old Chicago Maroons uniforms. Talk about historical greatness. This was the first person ever drafted by the NFL. He won the Heisman Trophy before it was called the Heisman Trophy. I think it was called, what was it, something athletic club, probably New York somewhere. But yeah, all these early players, all the players in this 55 set are crazy all-stars. Here's another great player, Paul Governale. He is quarterback. Here's his rookie card. A lot of these players didn't even have cards, but Paul Governale has that 55 card, but here's a 48 Bowman of his. I've actually got that Frisky Dog send away. I finally found one of those. Here's his 48 Leaf rookie card. Both low number, luckily, or not single print, I should say. Yeah, this is going to get pretty long. I'm probably just going to skip through the rest of this mail day without giving tons of details on these guys. But if you like football, and you like college football especially, check it out. Here's another great Michigan player. This guy won, I guess, what amounted to the Heisman Trophy again before there was one. It's the Fairbanks Trophy or something. And he's actually the first player to kind of retire and then unretire. I think he played pro football for the New York Giants for a while before leaving to go play with the amazing Rochester team in Rochester, New York. Who remembers that? Anyway, Hall of Famer. Here's a really tough set I'm trying to complete, but the high numbers 48 Bowman basketball. Kind of the first basketball cards, in my opinion. I think there was a couple. This is card number 1, so it's a little harder. I got it because the centering in the corners are great, even though there's that printing error on the front of the streaking from the printer, or this packaging, maybe it got scratched when the ink was still wet. Get these out of the way. 48 Bowman. I love this guy's nickname. Leo Clear is how I'm guessing they pronounced it. Crystal Clear. 6'2", 170. That's like skinnier than me and slightly taller than me, but he was an NBA player. And to round out this mail day, I've got a couple 64 Topps football I was missing. I'm probably missing about, I'd say, close to half of this set. It's frustrating because I want to get well-centered cards, but they just rarely come up. And when they do, they're VG. I kind of like the EX near mint and above stuff generally. This set also, if you're trying to complete a 65 football set, you know how rough this one is with all the single prints. Like 2/3 of this set seems like single print, and of course Namath's rookie card is in here, so that's like basically a 52 mantle when you're collecting football cards. Probably not going to be able to come up with a spare $5,000 to $25,000 to get a card, a Namath card, but just look at the colors and the clarity on some of these. Anyway.
It works just like a telephone switchboard.